it does beg the question, Mr. Trudeau, what kind of a shithole country are you running here anyway? I mean, I'm this vile racist, and you let me back into your country? Shame on you! Shame on you! But all joking aside, it's been really such an honor to have been asked to come back to visit with you guys, and it's been such a pleasure to be here tonight. Especially, I'm truly honored, I'm humbled to be able to speak in the presence of Vera Sharav. Vera, you are a remarkable lady, and I really, really applaud you. But listening to everything that's been said tonight, what else is there? What else is there to say? I might comment on a few things that I picked up while you were speaking. So first of all, Trish, you mentioned or made the remark you probably should not make these comparisons since it is not your history, and you were talking about Nazi Germany. It is your history. It is history of humans, of mankind. And when the rights of human beings are being basically trampled into the mud, then it is your history. It absolutely is. And I always, get this a lot of times, when I comment on something going on in another part of the world. And, I get these comments on Twitter as, well, don't you have problems in your own country to take care of? Or, why don't you just mind your own business? Well, it is my business. And I will tell you, as a German, I am so incredibly grateful that the world did not mind their own business when it was time to step in to Nazi Germany and bring that despicable regime down. If they had minded their own business, had they minded their own business, I don't even want to imagine what the world would be like today and what country I would have been born into. It was a despicable, horrific, totalitarian regime that inflicted the most unimaginable atrocities on mankind. That's what Nazi Germany was. Thank you, the rest of the world. Thank you for not minding your own business. And I've made it my mission. I will never mind my own business when I see people being trampled on and rights being infringed upon. I make it my mission. I will never mind when I mind my own business. And Pastor Hildebrand, thank you so much for your words tonight. You mentioned a couple of quotes, and rightly so, kind of like along the lines, if there was no one else left to speak up, it was my business, so I didn't say anything, was no one else to speak up. And then you mentioned that mankind not only has to endure the atrocities that someone inflicts on us, but also has to endure the silence of all of those just standing by and doing nothing. And that is exactly the point. That is how Nazi Germany actually worked. It was the masses of people standing by and doing nothing. So what I will tell you today, and what I will tell you tonight, don't ever do that. And always remember, silence and compliance enable tyrants. It's as simple as that. So don't let us ever stand by in silence and let things just happen. Now I understand it is difficult. Yes, you have a family to feed, you have a mortgage to pay. I understand all of this. And the reason why most people just stand by in silence and just kind of try to get by, they do so because they are in fear. They're afraid of what will happen if they just say no. Or if they just say, no, I'm not going to do this. I won't. They are afraid of what might happen if they don't comply. When in reality, they should be afraid of what will happen if they do comply. That's what they have to be afraid of. So, like I said, it's been a lot of mention today about how we are not allowed to draw comparisons and point out parallels of all of this happening. And being German, of course, the German criminal code applies to me, and I have to tell you, if I were to do that, or if I did that, I might be accused of trivializing the Holocaust. And it might actually land me in jail. And the question that you have to ask is, why won't they let us come up with these comparisons? Why won't they let us point out what actually happened back then? Because Nazi Germany did not start out by rounding up people and transporting them off to camps. That was the end play, the end game. It started way before that. So the Nazis came into power in 1933. And it took them 5 years, small incremental steps, always one step at a time. First, the Jews were not allowed to sit on certain benches anymore. Well, what's the big deal? There's other benches to sit on, right? Just choose another bench. Then they weren't allowed to own pets. Well, you don't need cats and dogs, for a fulfilled life. You don't. So you just kind of get used to that. And then what happened? 1938, that's when the Reichskristallnacht happened. Reichspogromnacht. When they, violated Jews, the shops of Jews, vandalized them, broke into them. Yeah, that was in November of 1938. And it was also 1938 when the Nazis passed the so-called racial hygiene laws in Germany. You know what that means? Or what they were trying to achieve back then? If you as a German were married to a Jew, then you were violating the race hygiene law. Meaning, you had to divorce your spouse if he was Jewish. And you know what? That always kind of reminds me, but as a matter of fact, a couple of days ago, Klaus Schwab, he was talking about, digital ID and this whole shebang, and he said, well, if you don't have anything to hide, then you have nothing to worry about. Very dangerous, very dangerous. Because the point is this, whether or not you have something to hide is not up to you. You don't decide that. I mean, when we hear that phrase, obviously we think, well, I don't plan on robbing a bank or, holding someone up at gunpoint. You think along those lines. Yeah, well, you don't have to hide anything like that. But 38, Nazi Germany, if you were married to a Jew, suddenly you had something to hide. Because they will just change the damn laws, and then you have something to hide. And it might be something you would have never even guessed that it actually was something to hide. So if someone gives me that line, well, if you don't have anything to hide and nothing to worry about, no. Value your privacy. Make sure that you are in a state of rule of law and that everyone applies by that. And then, Vera, as you pointed out quite correctly, why was it even possible that they got away with it back then? How did it even work? Yeah, well, a lot of people simply did not believe that the Nazis would actually do that. It was so horrific. The thought of it, no one believed it. No one believed it. Yeah, well, they were quite frank about it, actually. But it was like, well, they're not going to do that. No one will do this. And haven't we heard that in the last 3 years? Oh no, our government wouldn't do this to never. And then this whole about the Emergency Act. Well, they did take it back, didn't they? They weren't even supposed to enforce it in the first place, for God's sakes. That's the point. But coming back to that, people simply did not believe that this would happen. It was so horrific. And as Heraclit, a Greek philosopher, once said, the truth often evades being recognized due to its utter incredibility. And that's what they're banking on. That's exactly what they're counting on, that the people simply will not believe that anyone would be so despicable as to pull something off like this. Well, maybe the people in Nazi Germany would have, especially the Jews, would have believed what was in store for them if only Hitler had written a book about what he was gonna do. If only he had done that, right? Then maybe people would have believed. Maybe. Yeah, well, he did write a book. He did. And it's all in there. Why won't people believe it? And now we are living in a time where someone else has written a book about what they are going to do. What is the book I'm talking about? The Great Reset. There you go. And you know this nice, shiny, bright, colorful logo of the WEF? You know, the sustainable goals for whatever. It kind of looks like the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, well, it's not the Wheel of Fortune, trust me. You will not win anything. You won't, trust me. You won't. But, and with this, I will wrap it up. When I look at this logo, I will tell you what comes to my mind. And I'm asking you from now on, whenever you see this logo, I want you to recall and remember these words. And into this ring, they poured all their cruelty, malice, and their will to dominate life. One ring to rule them all. One ring to find them. One ring to bring them all, and in darkness bind them. That is the agenda of the WEF, ladies and gentlemen. Never forget it. And it's totalitarianism at its worst. At its worst. Thank you so much. Please never give in and never stop. Thank you. Thank you. Christine Anderson. What an incredibly heroic panel we have had tonight. All of our politicians are quaking in their boots right now.